Hello and a very warm welcome back to the channel of nonsense. Now, in the period that I've been running this YouTube channel, I've been very lucky to drive some very fast cars. Some very noisy cars. Some very affordable cars. And some cars that have clearly been designed for swingers. But what I haven't shown you is the car I've actually been living with day to day, because all those other cars I get to drive for hours or days or maybe a week. But this is my Skoda Octavia vRS. It's a petrol one, it's 245 horsepower, it's an estate, it's blue, it's lovely. And I've been living with this for 7 months. So I'm going to give you a walk around, go through a reviewy drive thing and tell you what I've liked and what I've not liked about this most unassuming of warm estates. Let's go. Yeah, here it is then, my family car for the past half a year. I got this, I think, June 2021. As I say, it goes back to Skoda. It is a press car in a couple of weeks. This is a £33,500 car, and if you're like me, 10 years ago, you'll probably remember Octavia VRSs used to be about 24 grand, but the way of the world has moved on and everything's got more expensive, and Skoda has certainly moved more up market. As I said, this is the straight up 2-litre petrol of 245 horsepower. You can also get this as a 200 horsepower 2-litre diesel, and you can actually get that 200 horsepower diesel with four-wheel drive, which actually makes it as fast as this petrol one to 62 miles an hour. And there's a hybrid, a 1.4 litre, I think it is petrol hybrid, 245 horsepower that I've driven in the hatchback form, and I'll stick a link up the top somewhere. I spec this car, so this is actually £37,500. It's got things like an upgraded Canton sound system, blind spot detection, and £600 of what I think is quite lovely race blue paint, which I think if you're getting a Skoda vRS, you have to get it in this or that silly green. Sorry about the shadow. Hello. But yeah, I think in terms of looks, it's a pretty cool looking thing, and this has always gone up against the likes of the Golf GTI, and obviously the Skoda's always been bigger, roomier, less expensive and similarly powerful to a GTI, but I just think this knocks the socks off the Golf GTI. I mean, it helps that you can get this as an estate. I guess the other rival to this from Volkswagen Group is the Cupra Leon, which has a lot more power. It's 310 horsepower four-wheel drive and is available as an estate, but that's 4 grand more than this. And a Golf GTI is 2 grand more than this. So yeah, this is still reasonably bargain-licious. Like that Golf GTI, you get matrix LED headlights as standard on the Octavia VRS, and you get quite a lot of stuff as standard. This sits on 19-inch wheels. The GTI only gets 18s, I think. Yeah. I've stuck a grand's worth of dynamic chassis control, which is adaptive dampers to you and me, and I think that's really worth having just because it makes it really comfortable when you want it to be, or sportier when you want it to be. I love the swooping roofline. I like the way it all tapers down to the back, and I just think this is the best looking Octavia Skoda's ever made by a country mile. They've always got close to looking nice, but you kind of sense they've been hobbled a bit and made to look a bit ungainly compared to the likes of Audis and Volkswagens. But I think this one actually looks better than the rest of the Volkswagen Group crop. Fuel filler flap. Obviously you've got an ice scraper in there. It's a very Skoda thing. It's also a magnifying glass, a scraper, a ruler, and it probably even shoots lasers out of its bum. The only thing I would say is some of my journalist friends have found that that flap can get frozen shut quite easily in winter, which obviously negates the point of having an ice scraper in it. One other option I've stuck on this car is the reversing camera, which is about 600 quid, he says, trying to point to it. But it also gives you swooping dynamic indicators, which I'll stick a shot of in. I don't know why they're paired together, but they are. So if you get the reversing camera, you get swoopy indicators. And I just think it looks pretty nice for an estate car. I mean, I like estate cars, so I think it looks great. Let's have a look at the boot, which is full of crap. Warning. Yeah, that is a massive space. It's 640 litres. It's 600 if you go for the hatchback. You do lose 150 litres if you go for the hybrid. You lose quite a bit of space out for the floor, but I have not really ever filled this, and I've got 2 young kids, so as you can see I've got a massive pram for a baby in there, I've got a carrier for a toddler, and I've got a Play-Doh kitchen, because why not? I've also got an off-brand version of Uno and some Christmas wrapping paper. I'm sorry, this review is done a bit on the hoof and there's even more rubbish inside. Speaking of which, let's go inside. Yeah! There's a good chance if you're watching this terrible video, you're probably interested in this as a family car, and there you can see how much space there is in the back. It's like a bit like the old Skoda Superb. There's loads and loads and loads of legroom in here, more than enough room for 2 child seats. I'm going to hop in and show you what a 6'3" adult looks like with his cow toy. Oh no, sorry, it's not mine, it's my daughter's. Unsurprisingly, there is loads and loads of room in the back of Skoda Octavia vRS Estate 245 TSI 2 litre petrol. We've got loads of headroom. That's in my driving position. This is set for a child seat, and oh my goodness, there's so much legroom left. You've got little pockets here for mobile phones and things as well. There's 2 USB-Cs down there, which you're not going to be able to see, and a little cubby there as well. If I close the door, do I feel claustrophobic? Not at all. The belt line feels really low, so the window feels like it goes down towards your knees a little bit. It's just a lovely place to be. It's nice and comfortable. The seats don't recline or slide. There's nothing clever like that, he says, checking. But yeah, loads of room for a toddler seat, loads of nappies, don't ask, we're potty training, and cows and hats. I don't know if this will fit me. I think this is meant for, yeah, I think it's meant for a 6-month-old, not a 36-year-old idiot. Anyway, let's look up front and see what it's like up there, because it's quite fancy for a Skoda. Yep, this is the front of the Octavia vRS. You get a little flat bottom steering wheel with some very simple controls on it for the voice commands and changing radio stations, etc. Has got lane keeping assist, but it's a 2-button job to turn it off. You press that button once and then click in that chrome slider thing and it's turned your lane keep off. You have to do that every time you start driving, and the lane keep assist is a little bit annoying, but it's no more annoying than in any other car. You get digital dashboard, which I've just had set up to show MPG, speed, and you can obviously put maps up there and things like that. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, the infotainment system's probably been the weakest part of this car since I've had it. It did just go fully wrong, and it had to go back to Skoda for a software upgrade about 4 months ago now. It's still got some bugs in it, so it pops and crackles a little bit when you're using Bluetooth audio. And it was originally a problem with that SOS button up there. Somehow that was interfering with everything. It's still not perfect, but it's good enough really. And having wireless CarPlay just makes me a very happy boy. You've got a wireless charging map there. I think that's £330 optional extra. I'll be surprised if you can still get that, because lots of manufacturers are chopping that from their options list because of the chip shortage. And it seems to be one of the first things to go. Automatic gearbox, you select your gears there. Handbrake, never use that button because it's all automatic. And there's a massive cubby here with some detritus in it. One thing I do really like though is this big swathe of suede cloth across the dashboard. It just makes things feel a little bit posher, and you've also got it on the doors there as well. The speaker grills are a bit plasticky, as are the door bins down there. But hey, it is really nice in here. I do like doing big trips in this because it's so damn comfortable and so easy to use and easy to live with. And you also get a frameless rear view mirror. Look at that. No big clunky black plastic rim around it. The climate controls are buried ever so slightly. You have to press the climate button there, then use the screen to change them, which is a bit annoying. But I am starting to like this Volkswagen Group infotainment system a bit more than I used to. I used to really hate it. This one hasn't actually crashed on me very often since the software upgrades, so you don't end up starting the car in the morning having to wait a minute to be able to demist your windows or anything. It does just work. But other than that, it's fairly good. Yeah, that's probably enough about the inside of my Skoda. Let's take it for a drive and find out if it's comfortable, if it's refined, if it's good on the motorway, and if this VRS is sporty enough to earn that badge of being a hot hatch. Spoiler, I don't think it does, but it is very good. Let's go. Right, let's go for a drive in my Skoda Octavia vRS, but there is a problem. When you start it up, I don't know if you can hear that, but it projects this really annoying fake noise into the cabin that's trying to be like a late 90s Subaru. It's all warbly and it's just a bit naff. So you have to go into comfort mode using the mode button, or set up an individual mode, as I've done, to basically leave everything in normal settings but turn off that noise, and it's blissfully quiet. It's a bit annoying you have to do that every time you go for a drive though, but otherwise into D, check your mirrors, and away we go. The great thing about this car is that despite being the performance version of the Octavia, it's just as easy to live with. It just gets on with your day-to-day driving, with no dramas, with no, you know, annoyances, really. It's just very easy to live with. It's easy to see out of. It's smooth. With these adaptive dampers in comfort mode, it's very, very comfortable. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of, it blends into the background, but in a way that makes you really want to do long journeys in it. I really relish doing long trips in this because it's so relaxing, with that mix of the wireless CarPlay, the comfortable seats, the comfortable suspension, and just enough power from that 245 horsepower, 370 newton-meters of torque that it never feels slow. It's just a really, really nice package. And I could conclude there, but we're going to do a bit more than that. Let's go and do some dual carriageways, and I'll talk about what the fuel economy is like and what it's like at motorway speeds, and then we'll do some twisty roads, and I can get a bit nerdy, which is always fun. So I shall see you there. Now I've turned that noise off. Righty-ho, I'm about to go from a 50 limit to a dual carriageway 70 limit, which is the motorway speed limit here in the UK. So let's go from 50. We're going to have to slow down a bit because there's a roundabout, but then let's go up 40, up to 70. I'm in comfort mode, so the gearbox isn't kicking down and the sun is in my eyes. That is 70 miles an hour. And as you can hear, there's not really much wind noise. There's not really much road noise either. There's a bit of a rumble. Otherwise, this is an impressively refined, quiet car for the money. And as I keep saying, I really like doing long, big journeys in this because it's just comfortable, it's relaxing. I can put my podcasts on, and that upgraded Canton sound system it's okay. Basically, I wouldn't go for the entry-level sound system. I'd always pay a couple of £100 to get the better one because the better one's only okay, if you get my meaning. But yeah, I've been getting pretty much 35, 36 mpg on average out of this. I've mostly been doing town driving. On a longer run, you get slightly over 40 mpg, but around about mid-30s is where it's going to sit. I know some people have had the manual versions of these get 50, so I think the DSG takes quite a bit out of it. But yeah, the view out is good. I can see out the back, I can see out the mirrors, I can see out the side windows, the view of my shoulder is good. It's just really, really easy. It's been designed to be easier than your mum on a Saturday night to live with. Anyway, enough of this sensible stuff. Let's put it in sport mode, get some country roads, and find out if it feels like a 245 horsepower hot hatchy estate thing, or if it just feels a bit sensible. Right, I'm about to get to my twisty road in the Octavia vRS, and well, let's talk about performance. On paper, 0 to 62 miles an hour is 6.7 seconds, which isn't really that quick in the kind of context of modern day hot hatches, but let's just go from 0 to 60, if I can get my feet on the pedals. No launch control, yeah. I'm in sport mode, so I've got fake engine noise. That is 60 miles an hour. So yeah, it is quicker than it says on paper. So it says 6.7 seconds. That's probably right for the 0 to 60 sprint. But the mid-range and the in-gear acceleration makes it feel faster than you would think, and that launch is just hindered by the traction because it's a bit greasy, it's a bit damp, and this is on Bridgestones, which I don't really like in the wet. They're not that grippy or confidence inspiring, but once you're up and going, it's pretty quick. It'll go on to 155 miles an hour, the diesel will do 150, so yeah, it's a quick car by any measure of quickness. Medium quickness, I should say. In terms of handling, I really like it. It goes down a road really nicely. You can get into a rhythm with it. You can get into a flow, and you can use the paddles to do your manual shifts. And in sport mode, you get a crisp little blare from the fake noise thing in here. And actually, that fake noise thing isn't that annoying in sport mode. But yeah, you can't get it to do any sideways histrionics. You can put the ESC into a sport mode, but even then, you have to be really going for it to get it to move about. I feel like the Golf GTI is almost a little bit more fun than this, but not much. This is just, it's quick, but it's understated speed you get in this. It's not in your face, it's not Larry, it's just, I can go fast without really making a big deal out of it. It has got an electrically controlled limited slip differential on the front axle. Volkswagen calls it VAQ, which is, I thought, Hoover for carpets, but there we go. And you do get a fair bit of wheel spin out of tight corners and out of junctions, especially when it's damp. And in the dry, you just don't really notice it working because there's so much grip across the front axle. Anyway, so yeah, it's not a really fun car to drive, and I don't think any Octavia vRS ever has been. Yet it strikes a really nice balance between speed, cornering and comfort that few other cars can really manage, especially with that bigger boot, that much rear seat space. It's a wicked package, and just living with it day to day, I don't really care that it doesn't go sideways. I just want to get the kids to nursery, then go home the long way and have a little bit of fun, do some speediness, not speeding, speediness. Speeding is bad. So yeah, as a package, I've absolutely loved this to drive. Fake engine noise is a bit annoying, you have to turn it off. The lane keep assist is a bit annoying, but it's easy to turn off, and every modern car has that anyway. So yeah, in driving conclusion, it's a really well-rounded thing. Make sure you get the adaptive dampers though, because it's 900 quid and you can actually put it in a more comfortable mode than comfort. So my individual mode, I've actually dragged the little slider to the left of comfort to make it more comfortable. I've said comfort enough. Back to you, Tim, for an outro. So as the sun sets on my time with the Skoda Octavia vRS, what do I make of it? Well, let's start with the flaws first. The infotainment system isn't perfect. It's a bit fiddly to get some of the heating controls when you're on the move, and it has been a bit crackly and poppy, but I think software fixes are slowly mending those bits and pieces. It's not the most exciting car to drive. It's certainly quick, and if you're coming from a regular 1.5 litre Octavia, this will feel like a rocket ship. And the handling is safe, it's steady, it's fine, and it lets you have a bit of fun in high-speed corners, but it's not going to give you thrills if you're a proper petrol head. But that's pretty much it. It's a car I've really relished driving and doing journeys in, as I've said about a million times. It's very easy to live with, it's pretty economical, it's sporty enough. I feel like Skoda's really nailed the brief of this car that is just all things to all people, yet now it's so posh inside with all that wireless tech, the suede and everything else. It just feels like one of the best family cars I've driven. It's got a combination of affordability, space and everything else that I think puts it above pretty much anything else. So yeah, I'll really miss this when it goes back, and I'm not sure what I'm getting next. So yeah, I doubt it's going to be as good as this though. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you for watching if you've made it all this way to the end of the video. Hit like if it's been good, hit like if it's been bad. Do subscribe because that really helps me out. And I'll see you next time when I won't be standing next to a slightly chilly cricket pitch in the depths of January. Goodbye. Because you've made it all the way to the end of the video and even further, I'm going to show you two bonus niggles that I forgot to include in the main video. One is the paint does come off if you're an idiot and ride a Ducati into it like I did. And the second one is the key. If you're like me and you walk around the house with the key in the pocket, it's really sensitive, and I've had several neighbours knock on my front door and said, you know your boot's open, don't you, and it's raining, because I've sat on it and squished the boot release button in my house. So they're not really niggles, they're both just me being an idiot. Goodbye.